What's going on, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. For those of you stopping by for the first time, do me a real quick favor. See that red subscribe button down below? Go ahead and push that and show your support for the channel. Those of you stopping by that have been here before, welcome back to TLTG Reviews, my friends. Glad you came see me. So, one I've been meaning to do for quite a while now. Been giving it a few wearings recently, and it's definitely time to do my full review on 2019 release, Boss Bottled Infinite. Stay tuned. Boss Bottled, released in 2019, and kind of adds something new, kind of a new signature to the Boss Bottled DNA. From what I've seen, not the most popular fragrances, but I actually enjoy it. I think it's a great addition to the Boss Bottled lineup, and I'll tell you why here in just a moment. So let's go ahead and jump into this presentation. It's your standard Boss Bottled presentation, that, you know, iconic bottle shape, standard cap, their usual atomizer, puts out a decent amount of juice, and it actually has Infinite and a reflective silver material. So, I mean, it's the usual, it's the same old same with Boss Bottled, but I'm a huge fan of the line. I'm a huge fan of the house, and I actually love this bottle design. It looks great sitting on a shelf. It fits well in the hand to spray. Everything about this presentation is great to me. So believe it or not, for presentation, I'm gonna give this one an 8 out of 10. Now, jumping into the scent, as I said before, it was released in 2019. It's classified as a woody aromatic. Top notes are apple, mandarin orange, cinnamon, and sage. On the mid, you're looking at lavender, patchouli, and rosemary. And in the base, you're looking at sandalwood and olive tree. So what do I get from it? So in the opening, the lavender here is very fizzy, very bright, very effervescent, extremely aromatic. I actually really enjoy the way they did the lavender on this one. So let me get it a little quick spray. Let that chill for a second. We'll put the bottle right here. Yeah, in the opening, you do smell the olive tree right off the get. That's the new addition to this Boss Bottled DNA, and the lavender's amped up so much. It's basically, that's the two main notes you're gonna smell throughout, is the lavender and the olive tree. So also, you do get a hint of the apple and cinnamon, the Boss Bottled apple pie DNA, but it's overrun and outshined by this olive tree and this lavender note that's added, but you do smell in the background. This is a Boss Bottled fragrance. This is a Boss Bottled flanker. You get little hits of the sage and the rosemary, adding a fresh spiciness to it, but the rosemary never really comes to the forefront. The sage is pretty present, but the rosemary is not really heavy in the opening. And then in that transition, the lavender starts to ease off a little bit. It's not as fizzy and effervescent, but it's still very prominent throughout the entire life of this fragrance. And then the creamy sandalwood kind of starts to come out a bit more. Like I said, it gets a little bit more creamy. Sandalwood is not a light note in this fragrance, but it's also not heavily used either. And then the olive tree really comes out more. The cinnamon rears its head a little bit more. And the apple tones down, which was a little bit more prominent in the opening. And then once you get into the dry down, the lavender really lightens up. The olive tree is very prominent at this stage because it's an olive tree and sandalwood dry down. Very creamy, very different, very unique in my opinion, because I don't really know of any other fragrances other than the 2019 releases from the Boss Bottled line of Absolute, and then this one, the Infinite. I have not smelled the Absolute. But I'll tell you what, I do really enjoy this one. The scent on this one, I'm actually gonna give it a 7 out of 10. Longevity. So I actually did get in that 7-hour range. It's not the Eau de Parfum intense level of performance, but it does perform than the original does nowadays. I do get about 5 hours with the original, which is nothing to write home about. It's nothing like it used to be. But like I said, it does get in that 7-hour range every time I wear it. So for that, in longevity, I'm gonna give it a 7.5 out of 10. Projection, nothing special here. Standard Boss Bottled type of stuff. You're getting arm's length for about an hour, and that's kind of pushing it. And it starts to sit a bit closer to the skin, where you kind of smell yourself. People kind of got to get in your personal space to really smell you. It's nothing spectacular in projection. These aren't monsters by any means. These are classy. These are mass appealing, and these fragrances are great for the office. Projection on this one's going to be a 6 out of 10. Overall, Boss Bottled Infinite, put it right here, get focus. It's definitely a 7 out of 10 fragrance. I think it's one that's worth trying out. Don't knock it till you try it kind of thing. Don't just assume, oh, another boring release. Because I know for some, these Boss Bottled flankers can be, flankers in general can be, but the Boss Bottled line, aside from a few, the majority of the flankers maintain the original's DNA, which is what a true flanker should do. And this one does that. You do smell the original Boss Bottled DNA with an added twist of lavender and olive tree, whereas the apple cinnamon takes a back seat, the sage takes a back seat, and it just kind of goes its own way after the opening. Actually a very pretty fragrance in my opinion. I wore it with a suit and tie the other day. It works well with a suit and tie, really does. But until next time, guys, do me a real quick favor. Go ahead and like, comment, subscribe. Sorry. I do appreciate all the feedback. I love hearing from you guys. Have you tried Boss Bottled Infinite? Do you have it? Did you get it and not like it? Did you get it and you love it? You like it more than I do? Or do you completely agree with me? It's kind of above average, but not a banger of a release. Because that's where I would put it. I would put it above average. It's an above average release. It's one that I will go back to multiple times. I do enjoy. Hell, I've been wearing it more than the original and the Intenso de Parfum, to be completely honest with you. But until next time, I will say, if you get your hands on Boss Bottled Infinite, you give it a spray now, real good chance you'll thank me later. Have a good one, guys.